Happy Friday, everyone. It's finals time. It's Tuesday finals time. And the Friday preview is all over it this Friday afternoon. We're going to have a look at all the big games that will be going on, not only on Saturday, but also on Sunday. Cannot wait to get stuck into it. I'm Ben Waterworth, and joining me to have a look at all the games on the weekend, as he does every week, it's a very good afternoon to Daniel Cencic.
Very good afternoon to you, Ben Waterworth, and to all the listeners out there. Really exciting time in the Eastern Football League.
Very exciting. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it, but unfortunately you can't see me at the moment. Peter Baird, you're joining us as well. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Benny. I can smell finals in the air. It's all going to kick off tomorrow afternoon. Can't wait to get out as we go local for our footy.
But before we get into finals, Peter Baird, it's Division 1 time, because there is one more round of Division 1 action remaining in season 2012. Frosty, let's start with the game between Croydon and Scoresby out at Hughes Park. Scoresby will look to go into the final series with a big win.
Yeah, Croydon, unfortunately, will be relegated down to Division 2 next year. They will finish on the bottom of the Division 1 ladder. Unfortunately for the Blues, they can't overtake South Croydon. But last week, they were very gallant against the Boylan side. They only went down by 47 points. They pushed the Tigers for half a game. Once again, their best players were guys like Grant, Weiner, Callagher, Bull, Hughes. They're the players that are in the best week in, week out for the Blues. But the Magpies, they're rolling into a bit of form coming into finals. Our man, Benny Bronski's back in some ripper form last week. Kicked 5 goals. Bo Cosson kicked 3. Their midfield's just the key to the Magpies this year. Guys like Sean Cross, David Marcius, Adam Parker. Throw in their really damaging forwards, the 2 Hogle brothers. Jared Hicks has had a fantastic year for the Magpies. Really like the way that Scoresby are being coached at the moment under Scott White. He's got a game plan that's adaptable. He can change it up. He loves to strangle teams, deprive them of scoring. But when he needs to flick that button, the Scoresby machine rolls into overdrive. They can pile on goals in a hurry. Scoresby, they're flag favourites in Division 1 for mine at the moment. And they should affirm that with a very big win out at Hughes Park against the Blues tomorrow afternoon.
It's the Pies versus the Blues, but unfortunately for all those Blues fans out there, the Pies are just in way too good a form at the moment. Peter Baird, your love affair with the Scoresby Football Club continues to grow by the week, and our love affair for Ben Bronskis continues to gather momentum as well. I think Benny will have a day out, and I think Scoresby will have a day out. Interesting game at Knox Gardens Reserve tomorrow, Dan Cencic, with Knox hosting Eastborough. 2 teams coming off victories last weekend.
Yeah, it's 8th versus 6th on the ladder, and both teams really impressive last weekend. I mean, Eastborough claimed a fair scalp in Noble Park last weekend. We have to remember Noble Park got a lot of injuries, but the players who fired for Noble Park were Tyson Mitchum, Stewie Kempham and Georgie Angelopoulos. Fantastic players for them, so Eastborough can really hold their heads high of that one. And of course, Knox defeated Blackburn by 22 points. They got off to a great start before. Blackburn really reeled them in, so they might want to look at that this week. But look, both sides will be looking to finish off season 2012. Of course, both sides can't make the finals, unfortunately. But look, I think there's a lot of talent on both sides, and they'll reload again for 2013, and they'll be all right. A lot of good plays for Eastborough. I mean, Gribben kicked 4 goals last week. He's been outstanding all year for them. Robbie Campbell's been fantastic as well. AFL player injected into a local footy club has done wonders. Anthony Mariani continues to impress. But for the Knox side, Jeffrey's been fantastic for them. And of course, we can't forget players like McGowan, Jordan, Tredray and Kay, who played really good games last weekend. Eastborough to be really impressed with the way they've been able to turn their season around when at one point it looked like it was going off the rails. I'd love to tip Knox in this one, but I just think Eastborough have got that little bit more class and should get this one done by about 3 goals.
Was talking to Eastborough President John Sword during the weekend. Was he ruining some of those lost opportunities earlier on in the season? And if just a couple of injuries didn't occur, Eastborough could possibly be playing for a spot in the Tuesday Division 1 final series. I think they'll win tomorrow, but it has been a bit of a wasted season for Eastborough. They haven't gone anywhere. They haven't made the finals. Eastborough to win for mine. Peter Baird loves going out to the Pat Wright Senior Oval for 2 reasons: to get a free lunch and also to see Noble Park play. Noble Park plays Vermont tomorrow, Frosty.
This game has got me doubting my rule of never picking against Noble Park at home.
Oh no.
The question, has the wheels fallen off the bull train out at Noble Park? They've dropped 2 in a row, their last 2 games. Will it be 3 in a row? We asked that question earlier in the year. I prematurely potted the Noble Park side, put them into Frosty's freezer. They responded and bounced back. Not sure whether they're going to be able to do it tomorrow afternoon, though. Last week, Noble Park went down by 17 points to Eastborough. It was a bit of a shock result for the Bulls. They've locked in their 5th spot in the Division 1 Choose Tap finals this year, but they're not travelling with the same momentum as they had over the past couple of years. Last week, Tyson Mitchum continued his fantastic form. As you said, Dan, Stewie Kemperman and Georgie Angelopoulos were fantastic, but a player that had a very good game last week might hold the key for the Bulls tomorrow afternoon. Milad Josic, he plays that defensive role in their back line. He's going to have to be on his best because those small Vermont players, they can get so damaging. Last week, 13 of them got onto the score sheet in Vermont's 95-point thrashing of Lilydale out at the Vermont Recreation Reserve. Vermont, they're going from strength to strength, and a bit of the swagger's back about the Eagles. We know how dominant they've been in the Eastern Football League over the past decade. They look like they're affirming themselves and to have a real assault at this Division 1 premiership. Ryan Mullett, I reckon he's the favourite for the Chandler medal. Posed the question on EFL Sunday last week, should we give him the medal right now? I've copped a bit of stick about that since, but he's having a fantastic year. Also like the years of guys like Tom Carmody, Dean Mendez, Nathan Henley, Dean Kelly's added a bit to them this year as well. The Eagles, they're just going from strength to strength. I reckon they can knock off the Bulls out at the Pat Wright Senior Oval. I'm breaking my rule. I'm tipping Vermont. I'm going to call it an upset because the Bulls don't lose too many games at home, but Vermont's a win tomorrow afternoon.
I think you'll enjoy the free lunch on tomorrow afternoon, Frosty, but I think you'll enjoy a pretty impressive Vermont performance. They're looking in fantastic form at the moment. They're an attacking prowess, and I think they'll beat the Bulls at home. Can't believe I said that. Final game of the year for East Ringwood, and it won't be an easy one, Dan, because they host Boylan, who are heading towards a Choose Tap Finals Series berth. Yeah,
there's no doubt Boylan will be looking at the finals, but great news for East Ringwood that Bernie Dineen's been reappointed for season 2013, so they'll be riding high off the back of that. And look, it's their last home game of the season, so a great chance for the big crowd down at East Ringwood Reserve to really get out and support the boys. But look, it's against a very good side who's looking at the finals at the moment. They've done it tough through the last few weeks, Boylan, of course. They've had to do it for quite a while now without Roderick Crowe, who's been a really great player for them for a while, and I won't play for the rest of the season. But I don't think that'll trouble the Boylan side. They've got plenty of quality. Goebels fired last weekend. He was absolutely outstanding up forward. And their midfield, how can you go past them? They just absolutely run opposition sides off their feet, and we've seen that several times this season. East Ringwood have been cruelled by injuries this year, there's no doubt about it. I mean, anyone who refers to injuries as an excuse, I look at injuries as a fact rather than an excuse. East Ringwood can reload and be all right for season 2013. Boylan to do this one pretty comfortably.
I agree, Dan. Boylan are starting to hit a little bit of form. Good to see the likes of Gilchrist, of Harris, Nick Smith and Jeff Goebels in the best last weekend. That's a good sign for Boylan, and what will be an even better sign is a big win tomorrow against East Ringwood. Junior manager Rod Caldwell reckons this is a danger game for Norwood against Lilydale tomorrow afternoon, Frosty. I know you've got a lot of love to give for Norwood at the moment, though.
Yeah, we probably haven't given Norwood the recognition they deserve this year. They don't sit on top of the Division 1 ladder for no reason. Last week they completed their undefeated year out at Mullum Reserve. Now the business end of the year starts for the Norsemen. All aboard the Viking ship, I believe, as they head into the finals with the tag. Perhaps they are the premiership favourites. They're finished on top. They will finish on top of the ladder. The Norsemen, they've been fantastic at strangling sides. Lilydale, they've been workmanlike this year. Perhaps people have labelled them the best of the rest. They're going to not quite earn that title. Eastborough will finish above them on the ladder. They'll be looking to finish off their year on a bit of a high against Norwood in what they might see as a bit of a danger game. I can't see it happening. Norwood are too good a side. They've got players that have done the job week in, week out. They play a very disciplined brand of footy. Kevin Tiboldi is a super coach. He knows exactly what to say to his playing group to get them up and about each week, even if it is to remind them that the media team don't give them much love. You're getting plenty of love this week, Kev, because your Norsemen, they will go from strength to strength and put Lilydale away to finish the year on top of the Division 1 ladder.
Peter Baird, you have single-handedly lifted the roof off Norwood's Mullum Reserve at the moment, and I think you've lifted it off at the right time because Norwood is starting to look good towards the Choose Tap Final Series. They'll win tomorrow and finish on top of the Division 1 ladder and earn themselves the week off. The final game in season 2012 for both South Croydon and Blackburn out there at Cheong Park tomorrow, Dan Cencic.
Yeah, South Croydon fairly disappointing last week against, to be fair, a red-hot Scoresby outfit. Blackburn went down to Knox by 22 points, who were quite good after quarter time. But look, the year of Blackburn's been up and down. They lost a lot of players in the off-season, and they've developed a few really good replacements this year, and they'll reload and be back again bigger and better next season, there's no doubt about it. But South Croydon, their year's been pretty disappointing, and they've avoided relegation, but I'm not so sure they can stick with Blackburn tomorrow afternoon. I think Blackburn have got that class still amongst their side. Players like Michael Prendergast, and of course up forward they got Christian Height, who's come back into the side and been really good for them as well. And that'll really stretch the South Croydon defence tomorrow afternoon. I think away from home, Blackburn can get the job done and defeat South Croydon pretty comfortably.
I think Blackburn can win as well, Dan. They'd be pretty disappointed with their performance against Knox last weekend, only putting 44 points on the board through. They'll bounce back against South Croydon tomorrow and have a good finish to their season 2012. There you have it, the final round of Division 1 done and dusted. But gentlemen, it's time to get a little bit excited. It's the Choose Tap Final Series, the Senior Choose Tap Final Series, and it kicks off tomorrow afternoon. Let's have a look at Division 4 first. It's South Belgrave taking on Sylvan out there at Walker Park. South Belgrave have been there and done it a number of times before, Peter Baird. That is, played in finals, haven't been too convincing. But Sylvan, they're new boys at this. Second last year, third this year. A phenomenal story.
It certainly is. And Sylvan, they've earned their spot in the finals. Although they haven't beaten a team that currently sits in that top 5 and will play finals, I reckon they'll be gunning for the Saints this week. In a clash between two rivals, the rivalry dates back through the Yarra Valley Mountain District Footy League days. Now they're both in the Eastern Footy League, and ironically, the first final Sylvan will play in the EFL is against their old rival, South Belgrave. They won't have it all their own way, I believe. I've heard a little whisper from the Belgrave South Recreation Reserve that one of our boys, one of our favourites, Ben Waterworth, yes. Tommy Hallinan, has been training the house down this week, likely to be an inclusion back into the Saints lineup to take on Sylvan on the weekend. We know what a silky mover he is.
Very silky.
We know how great his disposal is, and he's just going to add that touch of class back to a Saints side that Nick Cox said at the start of the year, close enough won't be good enough. Well, Coxie, you've got close so far. You've earned your spot in the finals. You've finished second on the ladder. Now's time for the Saints to prove themselves that they can go all the way. I reckon it's going to start with a big win over Sylvan tomorrow afternoon out there at Walker Park. South Belgrave, they've just got too many options up forward. Lucas Appleby's had a fantastic year. Although Alex Bacon's hasn't been hitting the scoreboard as much as we've seen last few years, we know what a quality player he is. Down back with Burley, the Saints, they've just got stability. They've got a fantastic core group that play down their spine. Sylvan, they're going to take it right up to South Belgrave, but I don't think the job's done. The Sylvan boys on the huddle were convincing. They tried to convince us they can beat South Belgrave when they came in on Wednesday night. Their main players are going to be Dan Toohey and Ash Proud up forward. The Saints have to watch those guys. When Ash Proud played against Kane Jeffries of the South Belgrave Saints earlier in the year, he kicked 9. I don't think Coxie will go with that matchup tomorrow afternoon. I'm still going to tip South Belgrave. I reckon they can have a big win, and they'll be lining up against the Basin the week after for a spot in the Division 4 Choose Tap Grand Final.
Plenty of history, plenty of storylines surrounding this game. As you said, Frosty, South Belgrave and Sylvan, local rivalries, and I think we'll see that local rivalry out in force on Saturday afternoon. But for mine, I agree with you. South Belgrave, just a little bit too much experience for mine. They know what it's like to play in the final series. Sylvan, they'll take it right up to them, I think, for a half, but the class of the Saints will get the Cats in the second half. Led by Lucas Appleby and Bacon's up forward, South Belgrave for mine. You can't sleep in on Sunday, Dan, because there's a game playing. It's the elimination final, the Choose Tap elimination final between Ferntree Gully and Nunawading out there at Tormore Reserve in Baronia. Ferntree Gully, their experience, Nunawading, been a little bit since they've actually played in a final series.
Yeah, the stage is set for a really cracking contest on Sunday. Tormore Reserve, can't ask for much of a better ground than that. Ferntree Gully versus Nunawading, of course. And this season, Ferntree Gully have got a 2-zip record against Nunawading. The first time around, they defeated them by 25 points. Second time around was by 55 points. And speaking to Bernie Ryan, one of the main reasons behind that was their run and carry game. Ferntree Gully got a really great spread of runners in their side, especially out of defence. Lockhart's been fantastic for them. When the ball gets spoilt to the ground, he just gathers the crumbs and disposes really well by foot out of defence, and that really sets the play up for the Ferntree Gully side. And of course, up forward, you can't go past Pearce and Hagar. They're absolutely fantastic leading forwards, take great marks, kick goals as well, and their season's shown that. That'll really stretch Nunawading down back, as they've conceded some pretty heavy scores this season against a few of the higher sides up on the ladder. But look, Ferntree Gully are in cracking form at the moment. They won't want to drop this one. They made the finals last year. Results didn't go their way. They want to turn the tables this weekend, and that's what they'll do. They'll defeat Nunawading.
Great to see Nunawading back in the final series. It's been a little bit of a while since we've seen the Lions play in finals, but it hasn't been too long since we've seen Ferntree Gully, as you said, Dan. They played in finals last year, and they'll be out to get a victory on the weekend. A little bit different side compared to last year, but I don't think that'll matter too much. Good balance of youth and experience. They'll be too good for Nunawading. Righto, Division 3 Choose Tap finals time, Peter Baird, and it's Hawk off 3. The Glen Waverley Hawks taking on the Baronia Hawks at Eastborough Reserve, and it will be EFL game day on Saturday. Tune in from 1 till 6 p.m. on 98.1 Radio Eastern, or of course, streaming live from 2 to 5 p.m. on efl.org.au. Which Hawk will crow the loudest come Saturday night, Peter Baird?
I reckon it's going to be the Glen Waverley Hawks, Benny. Last night, Dan Cencic and I, we headed out to Capital Reserve. We had a chat with their coach, Mick Gall, and this is what he had to say.
We're out here at training with Glen Waverley Hawks coach Mick Gall. Massive game this week, the Glen Waverley Hawks against Baronia. Mick, after Division 4 finals last season, Division 3 finals this year, was that part of expectations at the start of the season?
Yeah, I'd say it probably was. We set ourselves a goal during pre-season. We thought that we were probably going to be good enough to, sort of make the finals in third division, and that was probably going from, talking to people that were involved with third division last year. So, look, we were quietly confident that we could have, made the finals and probably, done, as well as what we have done, I guess.
Moving into the Division 3 finals, what's been the main aspects behind the side doing so well this season?
Oh, look, I just think the boys have matured a lot. There's no doubt about that. You mentioned the finals last year. Obviously it was bitterly disappointing for us, but I guess, we gained a lot of experience from that. The boys matured a hell of a lot from that. And obviously the influx of new players, the likes of, Sammy Zichman and Jack Hancock, etc., Scotty Irvine coming into the side, have been great acquisitions for us.
Fair Tatu's been back in the side a few weeks. Ironically, he returned against Baronia. He's been fantastic since his return. Have you found his return into the side?
Yeah, look, Fair's been fantastic for us all year, to be honest. We sort of... he's played a different role down the back line or in defence this year. We used him through the midfield a little bit last week, which is where Fair likes to go. So, his whole year's been really solid for us, so we've been super impressed with Fair.
Last time against Baronia, you've absolutely smashed them, to say the least. But earlier on in the season, they got within a goal. Now, that result last time, do you think that gets a lot of confidence about the boys? But the result beforehand, do you think this week's a bit of a danger game?
Oh, look, we think every game's a danger game in third division, and I think that's the way we've played it all year, irrespective of who you play. Even last week against Coldstream, we thought that was a danger game. No doubt, obviously, Baronia, we think Baronia are a terrific side. We have a lot of respect for them and for their players. So, we've got to put the last victory against them into perspective. We're aware that they had a lot of players not playing that week. We played good football, there's no doubt about that, but, they certainly weren't at their best in as far as, players on the field. So, look, we're looking forward to the contest this Saturday, that's for sure.
Who are the main Baronia players do you see as the biggest threat this Saturday?
Oh, look, we probably think Smith, and obviously Heath's played quite some good football for him. I have a fairly strong expectation that Grice will probably play this week. So, we're looking forward to having him out on the ground. Look, they're a solid outfit. I'd imagine probably Bolton will come back in the side and Foligno as well. So, look, there's quite a good amount of footballers that they've got at that club that we need to worry about. There's no doubt about that.
Glen Waverley Hawks forward line I've seen throughout the season. I think it's been the envy of Division 3. You had as a party down there a few weeks ago against Baronia, kicked 9 goals. Danny Gray had 7, and Carnelli's ability to find a lead, take a mark and kick goals has been absolutely fantastic. Would you say it's the envy of Division 3?
Oh, look, you know, it may well be. I know it's probably not something that I've really spoken to other coaches about. There's no doubt we have, you know, more than one or two avenues to goal. You know, I guess, again, we probably put that into context. Simon Grasser hasn't played, and he'll come back this week for us, so that'll be a massive inclusion for us as well. You know, obviously, if Robbie Davies out, you know, between Davies and Grasser alone, you know, last year there's 140 goals there, you know, between the two of them.
Given what's happened with Robbie Davies this season, is there a bit of extra motivation to go all the way in season 2012?
Yeah, look, I think so. I mean, it certainly hit home, you know, with the boys during that period of time with Robbie. I mean, obviously he's the vice captain of the club. You know, he's certainly well respected amongst the playing group. They're very close, so, you know, the boys, it did affect the boys during that period of time. And yeah, look, it's probably made them probably, you know, have a bit more want. And look, you know, obviously last year's finals series is probably something that's hurt us. You know, we thought that we'd probably let ourselves down during, you know, the grand final last year, so the boys are pretty keen to make amends.
Another major player in the Division 3 finals this season is going to be North Ringwood. Given what's happened to them the last couple of seasons, and the Glen Waverley Hawks have proven themselves against North Ringwood this year, they're a major threat, but your side stack up pretty well against them.
Yeah, well, look, we did. We do match up well against North Ringwood. They are a terrific side. You know, they're a very good running side, and they've got, you know, a large number of very respectable players, very similar to Baronia. So, you know, everyone's a threat, and we don't take anyone lightly. You know, we're a side, and look, you know, I speak to Baird quite a fair bit about this. You know, probably one good thing about our playing group is they're probably very respectful with opposition sides, and we respect it, you know, our opponents. So, you know, Baronia are a threat, Ringwood are even a threat, you know, North Ringwood, Mitchum, you know, they're all very good sides and capable of, you know, of pretty good things on their day, I think.
Division 3 is just that even. But look, training loads, in terms of the way the team's been going, you know, Glen Waverley Hawks have been a lock for the finals for a while now. Now they're in the finals. Have you been able to adapt the training loads accordingly to in the lead up to the finals?
Yeah, look, we're probably taking the load off the boys a little bit. You know, we've had you know, 3 fairly solid games. We've had you know, the ground conditions over probably last week against Coldstream at home. You know, our ground was in pretty poor condition. We played Ringwood the week before out at Jubilee, and that was probably in the worst condition I've seen that in 20 years. So, and that's such a big ground. So, yeah, look, we have reduced the load on the boys over the last few weeks. There's no doubt about that. But as far as selection goes, we haven't, you know, hold people back because, you know, we thought that we were going to make the finals. You know, we were very keen to try and get top spot, and unfortunately we didn't. But you know, the boys are going well.
Coach of the Glen Waverley Hawks, Mick Gall, thank you very much for joining us on the Friday preview.
Well, there you have it from Mick Gall. They're going to be full of confidence going into this week's game. Fia Tutu, he's been unstoppable against Baronia in the 2 games they've played earlier in the year. Baronia, they're going to bring a few players back. I have no doubt about that. Whisper is Dean Grice might even get a look out. Damn, we headed out to Tormore Reserve on Tuesday. You saw that on EFL TV on Wednesday night. Notice Dean Grice running around in the background training with his fellow Baronia Hawks. I don't think it's going to matter much. I'm sticking with the Hawks of the Glen Waverley variety this weekend. They're going to take on North Ringwood next week. They're going to book their place in that second semi-final with a convincing win over Baronia tomorrow afternoon.
These two teams have played out some great contests so far in season 2012, but I agree, Pete. The Glen Waverley Hawks, for mine, they've been too strong throughout the season, and their form is the best of any other side in Division 3 leading up to the Choose Tap finals. Glen Waverley, for mine, to continue their fairy tale story. Ringwood hasn't played in the final series since 2005. Mitchum hasn't played in the final series since 2003. Since then, they've played in Division 1. They now find themselves in Division 3 in a Choose Tap elimination final at a Division 1 ground in Vermont Recreation Reserve. Should be a beauty. 2 proud clubs, Dan Cencic, going head to head.
Yeah, 4th versus 5th. This is set to be an absolute belter of a match. Look, Ringwood last week were really impressive against Heathmont. They needed the win, and the win is what they got. Katsiavos was fantastic, but one of the main main things I noticed with Ringwood last weekend, their hit-outs were in their favour, 59-28, and that was mainly through the work of Grinter in the ruck. He was fantastic, giving his midfielders first use of the footy, and that was the main reason they won the game. But also Lang was brilliant around the ground as well, and it'd be really hard for Mitchum to stop him tomorrow afternoon. But look, Mitchum have got a lot of quality about their side. We watched them a couple of weeks ago against North Ringwood, of course, and they took it right up to the best. Came down to the last kick of the day. Julian Petrakis had a really good year for them. He's been a really fantastic recruit for the Mitchum side this year. Of course, played his junior footy there. He's been really good for them, the way he can get those long penetrating balls down the line and hit a target from far away. I think this will be won and lost in Ringwood's forward line. Katziavos and Farmer have proved the difference against many sides this year, so the Mitchum defenders really need to tighten up and nullify their influence on the game. Of course, we watched these sides earlier on in the season. Mitchum got the chocolates that day, but I'm not so sure it's going to be the same this time around. I think Ringwood have got Mitchum's measure this time, but only just.
I think there'll be plenty of emotion in this game. Two proud clubs with plenty of history going head-to-head. But I agree, Dan. Ringwood just have that little bit more edge up forward, and those big bodies in the midfield, I think, will prove the difference. Ringwood play a finals-like style, and I think that'll come to the floor on Sunday afternoon. Ringwood for mine to win the elimination final, all thanks to Choose Tap. The final games we're going to have a look at are the Division 2 Choose Tap semi-finals. And the second semi-final will occur on Saturday afternoon. And Peter Baird's just a little bit excited. You can see him just sort of spruik up in his chair because it's Roble taking on Montrose. The two best teams all the way throughout the home and away season in Division 2.
To find out a little bit more about what Paul Minot, the Roble coach, thinks about what might occur out there, Daniel Cencic and I caught up with him at Roble training last night.
Welcome out to Seaback Oval. We're here with Roble coach Paul Minot ahead of a very important clash this weekend against Montrose. Paul, welcome, and very big game this weekend. Roble straight into a grand final if they win this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting for the whole club, really. I mean, last year we played in the second semi, and obviously we were trying real hard to get in the grand final, and went out last year in straight sets, and this year we've got another chance, and we've given ourselves another good opportunity. So really looking forward to for the opportunity that's been given to us. Yeah.
What's the mood been like at training this week? I mean, you mentioned going out in straight sets last year, and the club haven't made a grand final since 2005. Has that been spoken much about through the week?
Oh, look, not at all. I think even though we went out in straight sets last year, we weren't embarrassed. We actually we were close both games. Even Lilydale in second semi, we led at half time, so we were right in that game the whole time. And in the prelim last year, we probably just got stiffed by a couple of really good players. Just took control of the game at certain stages. So and we got beat by 6 points. So that's not certainly. I certainly believe. I think that's really going to help us. What happened last year. I just think that we're a lot more experienced now, and I'm pretty confident that the boys have learned a lot from that last year, and steel themselves that it won't happen again.
Speaking of experience, you've got a good mix of young players and older players in the side. That's a great blend for finals, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, the older guys, obviously we've got Artie who's over the 40 mark, and then probably McEwen and Morris, 29 and 27. So they're our older heads. A couple of guys in the mid-20s, but majority of them 20, 21 now, which is really good. They're the ones that are, that really made a difference this year. I think the 20-year-olds who have all turned 21 this year, there's about 7 or 8 of them in the side, and I think they've made a massive difference to us this year.
They certainly have. Now, finals have been a lock for a while now, and you're in the finals this week, of course. How's the club trained the last few weeks leading into the finals? I mean, have training loads been altered, or has it been a modified program for certain players or anything like that?
Oh, look, because we put ourselves in a pretty good situation with about 6 rounds out, we're certainly going to make finals. Whether we're going to finish 1, 2, 3 or 4, I did up the training. Pretty much knew we were going to play finals at some stage, and we did. We worked them pretty hard about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and really hard for about 3 weeks. And we've obviously lightened it up a little bit this week, but certainly have worked them pretty hard.
Back on to the importance of this week's game, obviously making a grand final is a big deal. How have you as coach handled the pressure, and how have certain players around the club handled the pressure as well?
Look, it's one of those things, I suppose, because we haven't been there for so long, I suppose, into a grand final, as you said, 2005, there's a fair bit of pressure, I think, on the playing group as well, and as a coach, we always pressure, but, we we take it with the fact that it's just great for the club, and I think that's the most important thing. It's really good for the club, and the pressure's good, and we really enjoy that, and it's a challenge, and that's what we want. You don't want to go through a season and have it easy every week. This is what you play for, to come towards the end of the season, and the pressure's on everyone, and to perform.
Obviously, it's been a great team effort right across the park this season for Roble, but who have you seen has been the main catalyst behind the club's success this year?
Gee, that's a tough one in regard to playing wise. I think that we've got a really good. I think we've got a really good blend. Our backline's been fantastic this year. We've had the least amount of points scored against us this year. We've been pretty defensive, but I think that's probably the way we play now. We're more defensive side than what we have been attacking, and I think our defensive group and probably our three midfielders that have been in and under all week or every week, McEwen, Frawley, McCara, and probably the emergence as well of Mitchell Garner as a ruckman. He's a genuine 200 centimetre ruckman now, and even though he's only 20 years old, I certainly believe he's matured this year, and he's been a massive difference to us this year. Massive.
On to your opponents this week in Montrose. You've got a 2-0 record against them this season, and of course you've got the results against Mooroolbark this season as well. Does that bode well for the team? I mean, is there a lot of confidence around the place, or is it a bit dangerous to say we've beaten them twice in the season leading into this week's game?
Yeah, look, it's a tough one. I mean, really, what happens? What's happened previously is irrelevant now, I suppose. And at the end of the day, the only thing is it probably gives the players a little bit of confidence, and that we've beaten them before. There's no reason why we can't beat them again. But on the other hand, I think it's always good to sometimes come in where you haven't been a side, and you work that little bit extra to beat them. So look, I don't take that to any relevance at all. I think just it's a new series now. It's a final series, and it's a new season. The season starts again.
Definitely is. Who have you seen as Montrose's better players this season? I mean, they've got a lot of great players amongst their side. Brett Johnson obviously coming across. Billy Schilling up forward has been good for them. Who are their most dangerous players, especially tomorrow afternoon?
Look, they've obviously got quite a few running around. Obviously Johnson and Steve-O and Haney in around the footy. Sam Goodman, Jai Goodman coming off half back. You got Andrew Nee, who's a new inclusion to the side this year. Down back, they got the Gardol and Langdon and Lindgren. Look, they've got some really good players, and up forward, obviously they've got Cook and Billy, who's very, very dangerous. Billy's kicked 71 goals this year, and we obviously have to stop him, and important for us. And Mickey Edwards as well runs around; he can kick goals out from anywhere. So we're under no illusions that we're playing against a very, very good football side. And the rumour is that Dylan Rickard could well be playing as well, who's I respect very highly. He was the captain of the side last year, and it's good to see him back in the side because he's a ripping fella. And look, they've got plenty of players that we've got to worry about. Yeah, absolutely.
If the result does go your way this weekend, and there's a very good chance it will, what's the plans for the week off? Do you let the boys have the week off? Do you modify training loads or things like that? What goes on the week off?
Look, to be honest with you, I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm just worrying about getting over this one, and I'll reassess. On Saturday night, if we win, on Saturday night with a quiet beer and or two, I'll just map it out from there. But I'm not even considering what's happening next week.
The old cliche, 1 week at a time. Paul Minot, thanks for joining us on the Friday preview.
Well, there you have it, direct from the Monsters' mouth. Roble will go into this game full of confidence, but they will be very wary of a Montrose side that have proved themselves this year. Big Andrew Haining, he's a key for the Demons. Their midfield, with guys like Dean Stephen, going to take plenty of watching, and of course, they've got power forwards of their own. We've got Adam Cook and Billy Schilling down there. The Roble defence will need to be on their best. I reckon they can do the job though. Roble for mine to book their place in the Division 2 Choose Tap Grand Final this year and await for their opponent next week.
You got very excited saying those last couple of sentences, Frosty. Roble to make the grand final. I have to agree with you, though. Roble has had Montrose's measure so far in season 2012. Montrose have only lost 3 games, but 2 of those were to Roble. Roble just seem to have the leg speed and the quickness. On average, they're a little bit younger than what Montrose is. I think that'll come to the floor. And out there at the wide open spaces of Jubilee Park, the younger legs, the faster legs of Roble should be too good for Montrose. Final game we're going to have a look at is the Division 2 Choose Tap first semi-final. It's Mooroolbark taking on Bayswater out there at Jubilee Park. It's so big that the EFL Game Day Caravan of Courage will be heading out to Jubilee Park to broadcast this one. Now, this is from 2 to 6 p.m. on 98.1 Radio Eastern, 2 to 6 p.m. and, of course, streaming live on efl.org.au. And, of course, Bayswater will be wearing the Waverley Blues Bogues jumpers as clash strips, but, of course, these two teams have very similar jumpers. So to avoid the clash, Bayswater will be wearing the Bogues outfits. How do you see this one going, Dan?
Yeah, this is a really big test for Bayswater on Sunday afternoon. Of course, Mooroolbark have set the tone a lot throughout the course of the season. They've been one of the best sides in Division 2. Bayswater will have their work cut out for them, there's no doubt about it. But look, it's all been happening around this game throughout the course of the week. Giorgio from Mooroolbark got off at the tribunal. Of course, the big question we're all asking is, where will Brent Jane play? Will he start forward or will he go back and play on Talevski? I feel he's better suited up forward. A lot of firepower with Brent Jane. We know he can kick goals. He uses his body really well too. He's played as a defender, so he knows how the forwards work, so he can use that in reverse up forward and really exploit the backman. But look, a lot of mouth-watering matchups all over the ground in this game. Mooroolbark had a really good win last weekend against Donvale, but Bayswater just scraping home against the Waverley Blues. So perhaps a close game will really test out their bruised bodies. But look, Joel Galvin's been in fantastic form for Bayswater. Kicked 3 goals last weekend. Mitch Galvin was good as well. And Wayne McInerney kicked 2 goals as well. Good to see him in and amongst it as well. Mooroolbark's midfield are their real strength. They've got players like Linford, Polkinghorn, McManus, Smith, Ben Moran Smith's man, of course. They're all in really good form at the moment. And Mooroolbark, they finished 3rd on the ladder, but they're better than that. They play footy like a top side, and they're a real chance to win the flag this season. They won't want to drop this one. Too good for Bayswater this Sunday. They will do it comfortably.
I know Peter Baird off-air has said to me that if an upset is going to happen in a finals game, in a Choose Tap finals game this weekend, it's going to possibly be this game. Bayswater will really fancy themselves against Mooroolbark. The Waters have taken it up to the Mustangs in 2012. They actually beat the Mustangs by 10 points the last time these two teams met. But Mooroolbark, for mine, just have too much class through that midfield. You mentioned those players like your Smiths and your Linfords, etc., McManus. I think they'll be too good for the Bayswater midfield. Having said that, Joel Galvins will be matching them up. But Mooroolbark, for mine, and it helps when you've got a guy like Kid Talevski playing up forward. I reckon the attention and the spotlight, he'll love it and he'll lap it up. Talevski to kick a bag and Mooroolbark midfield to get on top. Mooroolbark for mine. I can't believe we've just gone through the first week of the Choose Tap final series. This season has flown, but it is about to get very, very exciting, and we here on the Friday preview will be all over it throughout the Choose Tap final series. Make sure your radio dial is locked in to 98.1 Radio Eastern, not only on Saturday, but also on Sunday. On Saturday, of course, we are heading out to Eastborough Reserve for the Glen Waverley Hawks and Baronia Division 3 Choose Tap qualifying final from 1 till 6 p.m. on 98.1, and of course streaming on efl.org.au from 2 till 5 p.m. Then on Sunday, make sure you tune in to 98.1 from 2 to 6 p.m. for a broadcast of Mooroolbark and Bayswater, and of course that game will be streamed right here on efl.org.au.
Plenty of action on the field this weekend in the Eastern Football League, but we'll still be having Akira EFL Sunday from 10am till 12pm, where we chat to winning coaches from around the Eastern Football League. EFL Sunday, proudly brought to you by Akira Urgent Care.
And the huddle gets no break throughout the final series. The boys will be back next Wednesday night on 98.1 Radio Eastern FM to bring you a lighter look at the Eastern Football League. 98.1 Radio Eastern is the place to be. 6 p.m. next Wednesday night for the huddle.
It's been a pleasure going through all the games that will occur over this weekend. Thoroughly looking forward to going out and seeing some Choose Tap finals action. Dan Cencic, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Ben Waterworth. Really looking forward to the Choose Tap final series the first week this weekend.
And Peter Baird, it's been great to have you going through all the games here at EFL House. But before you go out and watch some EFL games on the weekend, there's some cows that have got to be milked.
It certainly is. Keep your radio dial locked to 98.1 Radio Eastern all weekend, or stream the programs live on www.efl.org.au. I know I certainly will, Benny. Can't wait to get out there to all those final venues. But before, I'll be heading out to Noble Park in Vermont for the last round of Division 1 on Saturday. Final start for me Sunday afternoon.
Enjoy that free lunch on Saturday as well, Frosty. This has been the Friday preview for yet another week. It's week 19 in the Eastern Football League, and we can't wait for the weeks to come. As a wise man once said, stick a fork in us, we're done.